Hi, everyone. This is Tom Rucci, and I'm going to be your live stream host today for the Riptide Jingle Bell Invite. Today, we're going to see teams from Riptide in Apple Valley, as well as the Rochester Swim Club from Rochester, Minnesota. We'll be broadcasting live from the Blue Water Aquatic Center in lovely Apple Valley, Minnesota. Let's take a look at the pool here real quick. We'll be starting at about 1 p.m. today. And actually, I'll tell you, we're having a slight glitch here. I may have to restart the live stream in just a moment. I apologize. We'll be back in just a moment. All right, folks, we've got that little glitch fixed. Best to get that stuff all fixed now. So once again, this is Tom Rucci. I'm going to be your live stream host for the entire day today for the Riptide Jingle Bell Invite, or Invitational. And we'll begin here about 1 p.m., so that's about 10 minutes from now. As you can see, scrolling at the bottom of your screen here, go ahead and give us a shout-out. Tell us where you're watching from, who your favorite swimmer is, who you're rooting for, and we'll get it on the air here. The kids do like to watch these live streams after the fact, so make sure you do that and support your favorite swimmer. Looks like we're going to have 40 events today. I'm sure some of this will get combined as time goes on here. But we're looking at starting at 1 p.m. and probably finishing sometime shortly after 4 p.m. today. We'll let you listen to the sights and the sounds of the pool here for the next few minutes until we get started. I see our national anthem singer is making her way down to the pool deck here. I'm not sure if we'll be able to get a look at her here. Let's see. There she is in the corner. That's Katie Rucci. So anyways, so that'll be coming up here in just a couple of minutes. So before we start all that, let's go ahead and let's look at the teams that we have coming up. So again, this is the Jingle Bell Invite at the Blue Water Aquatic Center in Apple Valley, Minnesota, home of Riptide Swimming. Today's teams are going to be Riptide and the Rochester Swim Club. And as I said previously, there'll be approximately 40 events today, starting at 1 o'clock in just a matter of a few minutes here, probably about 7 minutes from now. And we're looking at approximately a 4 p.m. or so finish time. My name is Tom Marucci. I'm going to be your live stream host for the entire day and the entire event. So stick with us here, and we will get going here in just a moment. Again, as you see at the bottom of the screen, go ahead and use the comment section of YouTube to send a shout out to your favorite swimmer, your favorite team. Let us know where you're watching from. You do need to subscribe to the channel in order to be able to leave a comment. So you can do that. Just wait a minute or so, and then you'll be able to leave a chat. And then I'll get that on the air. All right, we've got about 5 minutes here before the swim meet will begin. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and start this off. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Blue Water Aquatic Center and the Jingle Bell Invite, hosted by Riptide Swimming. At today's meet, we'll welcome swimmers from the Rochester Swim Club and from Riptide. This meet is held under the sanction of USA Swimming. Your officials today are going to be Wendy Peterson, who's the meet referee, Teresa Jurish, the meet starters, and Deb Rizzo, our meet administrator. I want to thank our officials, coaches, and meet volunteers here today for helping make this a great meet. And of course, I want to thank you, our viewers here, for tuning in. In a moment here, we're going to have our national anthem sung by one of our swimmers from our one of our older teams here. That'll be Katie Rucci, and she will be singing our national anthem in just a few moments. Again, folks, don't forget, leave a shout out for your favorite swimmer. Tell us where you are watching from. Tell us who your favorite team is. And I will get him on the air. One other request that we have is that if you like these broadcasts and you want to see us to continue doing these live streams of the swim meets, go ahead and hit the like button. We do appreciate that. It always does help. It sends that message to the swim team and the management here that you want to continue seeing these live streams. It is all volunteer. However, every time that we get more and more excitement from you watching at home, it gives us a little more influence here to be able to get better equipment, and then we can bring you a better image. So please go ahead and hit that like button if you would. And again, go ahead and use the chat area of YouTube to send us a comment. Again, you do have to be a subscriber, but just click subscribe. It doesn't hurt. And then within about a minute, you'll be able to send a comment over, and we'll get it out to the airwaves here. So we're about to get started here. We're doing some last-minute checking of equipment. You can see some of our officials here down on the pool deck. Quite a few of them today, it looks like. All right, we'll wait for just a moment here to get started with Katie Rucci singing our national anthem. We'll start with some announcements first and get a little bit of housekeeping done here in-house. We've got our first shout-out. Go, Zach, Nana, and Papa. That's from John. John, where are you watching from today? Are you here in Minnesota? Are you somewhere else? Let us know. Another shout out here from Emily. Go Riptide, swim your heart out. Do your best and have fun. Watching from Minnesota. Sounds good, Emily. Thank you so much. Great to hear from you. Another shout out here from Terry. Papa and Grandma are cheering for Lily on Riptide from West Fargo, North Dakota. Great to hear. That's our first out of state that we've seen here. In fact, I was just in South Dakota 2 days ago, just south of where you are. All right, John's back here and letting us know he's watching from Wisconsin. Thank you so much, John. Again, welcome, folks. We're glad to see you here. Another shout out here from Jan. Have a great meet, Belle. Love you, Grandma. Grandma Jan in Wisconsin. Wonderful, guys. And one more here. This is from Parth. Come on, Aditi. You can win this. I love it. Love it, guys. Keep those coming. I'll get them on the screen here. The kids will be able to see these after the event as well. And I promise you, we'll be getting started here shortly. Looks like they're working on a couple of technical issues here with the scoreboard. and the officials getting some last-minute changes made. We have a pretty good crowd here in the peanut gallery. There's only a few open seats here. That's a good sign. And here we go. The announcements are starting in the pool. I'm going to try and get the mic here hot for the national anthem singer. I'll do my best here.
Consumption of alcoholic beverages is strictly prohibited and blue water by offender. We ask spectators to utilize restrooms located on the mezzanine or in the lobby. Locker rooms are for swimmers only. We respectfully ask for your cooperation in remaining quiet at the start of the drink. Flash photography is prohibited at the start of the race. Your officials today are Wendy Peterson, the referee, Teresa Jurish, the starter, Deborah Rizzo, the administrator. Riptide is pleased to offer concessions at today's meeting. Stop by the concession stand in the lobby for snacks and beverages while enjoying today's. Thank you to the officials, coaches, and volunteers here today helping make this a great week. Now please rise, move your hats, and face the flag at the start of the pool for our national.
Okay, it's time for our national anthem here. And our national anthem is going to be sung by Katie Rucci today.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming. And the rockets red and the guns bursting gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does the star-spangled wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow, that was great. That was our own Katie Rucci singing the national anthem. All right, here we go. And we're going to begin our events here with event number 1. This is the girls 13 and over 200 medley relay. This will be heat 1 of 1. We got another shout out here. Let's go, Aditi. Proud of you. That's from Zena.
Girls 13 and over 200 yard medley relay. Heat 1.
We got 2 swimmers in the water here. And again, this is the girls 13 and over 200 yard medley relay. In lane number 4 for Rochester is Amelia Dean. Emma Wu, Julia Wang, and Dylan Rockar. In lane number 5 for Riptide is Aditi Patel, Natalie Elrahab, Tessa Rodolfi, and Melina Finch. Looks like Riptide is in the lead here. Let's get a little different view. Up in the water they go. All right, I'm going to switch scenes here so we can come back to it. And it looks like Riptide is going to finish first here in lane number 4. I believe that's Rochester. It's supposed to be Rochester. It is Rochester. Sorry about that. Hard to see from my angle here. I'm going to fix that, though. We're going to move some things. And there you go with a time of 2:29.41. Rochester will finish first with a time of, that's not right. The 2:10 I don't believe is correct for lane 5. All right, next up is, okay, they've consolidated some things on me already. So next up apparently is event 3. This is a heat 1 of 1. This is girls 11 at 12, 200-yard medley relay. In lane number 1 is Riptide with Teresa Shen, Aditi Shamraj, Clara Shea, and Evelyn Andreessen. Lane number 2 is Riptide with Eileen Shen, Sylvia Acosta, June Holter, and Evie Reynolds. In lane number 3 for Riptide is Danica Myers, Elsa John, Rima Menon, and Sophia Renato. In lane number 4 for Rochester is Ella Edwards, Carolina Chuska, Bodie Funk, and Ellie Rybakowski. In lane number 5 for Riptide is Kinsley Munson, Belle Wigand, Tashi Sinha, and Sydney DeMarco. So we have a series of relays here, folks. And then we'll have a slight pause after those relays. Looks like lanes 2 and 7 are currently in the lead, looking like lane number 2 is in first, lane number 7 is in second. Lane number 2 is Riptide. And I don't know who is in lane 7 because I don't have that on my list. I'm going to guess, yeah, lanes 7 and 8, I believe they've combined a couple of events here, events 3 and 4. So lane 7 is going to be Riptide. That's Zach Anderson, Jackson Marlowe, Connor Brown, and Javier Lafitte. And lane number 8 is Riptide. That's Ethan Thompson, Cole Callis, Quan Duong, and Eric Michaela. And it does look like finishing first was lane number 7 with a time of 2:45.01. That was the boys' Riptide team. Finishing second, lane number 4. That was Rochester girls. Finishing third was lane number 3. That's Riptide girls. So like I said, we got a little bit of combination going on here that I don't have on my list, but you know what? We're going to get through it. So that would mean we have event number 5 next. As soon as this one's done, let me get you. Okay, there we go.
Event 5 and 6. Girls 10 under 200-yard medley relay and boys 10 under 200-yard medley relay.
All right, up next, as I said, is event number 5. This will be heat 1 of 1. And this is girls 10 and under 200-yard medley relay. I'm going to take a look here to make sure that they haven't combined anything else here, because I do see a boy on the other end here. Let me just see what's going on, and I'll let you know what I see. We should have swimmers in lanes 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is what we're doing. We're combining events 5 and 6. This is boys and girls, 10 and under, 200-yard medley relay. All right, and lane number 1 for Riptide is Anya Coronel, Grace Liu, Natalie Crecci, and Stella McCurdy. In lane number 2 for Riptide, Avery Persigal, Peyton Pastrollo, Layla Sheets, and Aubrey Kircher. In lane number 3 for Rochester is Afton Lindquist, B. Standorf, Mia Huang, and Callista Wang. In lane number 4 for Rochester is Oakley Froelich, Maya Thaden, Elsa Gwellen, and Patricia Pelzuska. In lane number 6 for Riptide is Ben Kohler, Murphy DeMarco, Ben Johnson, and Brody DeWalt. In lane number 7 for Rochester, Jacob Fernholtz, Adam Jothan, Crosby Coleman, and Scott Melee. Let's watch here as some of the swimmers come back for their interchange. Another shout out here. Swim strong, Zach. Grandpa and Grandma are cheering in Arizona. Thanks so much. Great to see that you're here. Finishing first in lane number 1 with a time of 2:57.84 was Riptide. Finishing second in lane number 6 was the boys Riptide team with a time of 3:03.99. And finishing third in lane number 3 was Rochester girls with a time of 3:07.49. Got another shout out here. Go, Elena. That's from Justin. All right, next up is going to be event number 7. This is girls 13 and over, 200-yard IM. This will be heat 1 of 1. This will be a full boat this time, lanes 1 through 8, all girls. And it is mostly Rochester. We're waiting for the swimmers to get set here. We're about 5 minutes ahead of schedule. I think that's because some of those combinations we've had going on. Folks, we're just in a short break here while they get some things sorted out here at the pool. When we come back, however, we will be at event number 8. And that'll be the boys. I'm sorry, no, we're still at event number... We've been at pause for so long. I forgot where we were at. This is event number 7, rather. This is girls 13 and over, 200-yard IM. In lanes 1 through 5, it's going to be Rochester. And then we will have lanes 6 and 8 will be Riptide, and lane 7 will be Rochester as well. So I'll get those names as best as I can pronounce them listed out to you here in just a second. So again, this is event 7, girls 13 and over, 200-yard IM. Into the water they go. And lane number 1 is Nora Groby with Rochester. Lane number 2 is Elizabeth White, Rochester. Lane number 3, Amelia Dean with Rochester. Lane 4, Dylan Rocker, Rochester. Lane number 5, Julia Wang, Rochester. Lane number 6, Aditi Patel with Riptide. Lane number 7, Emma Wu with Rochester. And lane 8, Harper Colley with Riptide. And again, this is the 200-yard IM. Currently in the lead, lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Julia Wang with Rochester. Pretty closely followed by about a half a body length behind is lane number 4. That is her teammate, Dylan Rocker. Julia comes into this with a previous time of 2:43.85. And Dylan, in lane number 4, has a previous time of 2:41.79. Let's watch here as they come back here. Boy, look at that. Really, really close. So Dylan in lane number 4 is a 13-year-old, and Julia in lane number 5 is 14. Julia had a pretty good turn, though. She's gotten her lead back to about a full body length there. In third place is lane number 3. That's Amelia Dean, also from Rochester. She's a 13-year-old with a previous time of 3:56.90 in this event. Julia Wang in lane number 5 for Rochester is pretty commanding lead at this point. I don't see how anybody can catch up to her. Once again, remember her previous time was 2:43.85, so she'll be looking to try and better that here as she comes back. Here she comes, and she will touch with a 2:44.30. So just a little bit longer than her previous time. Coming in second, lane number 3. That was Amelia Dean. I'm sorry, lane number 3 is Amelia Dean with Rochester. And she has a 2:50.94. That's a 6-second improvement there for Amelia. Coming in third in lane number 4 was Dylan Rocker. And she finished with a 2:54.35. All right, up next is event number 8. This is the boys 13 and over, 200 IM. You should see swimmers in lanes 3 through 6. Yep, swimmers are getting poised on their starting blocks. There they go into the water. In lane number 3 is Carter Callis with Riptide. Lane number 4 is Tristan Varela with Rochester. Lane number 5 is Mason Yost with Riptide. And lane number 6, Uriah Nelson with Rochester. The only swimmer with a previous time listed here is lane number 4. That's Tristan Varela with Rochester. He's 13-year-old. His previous time was 2:55.03. The rest are showing as a first-time swim. Let's watch here as they make their first turn. Lane number 5, that's Mason Yost with Riptide, is in the lead by about a body length over lane number 4. Lane number 4 is Tristan Varela from Rochester. Boy, it's neck and neck here between lanes 4 and 5. With lane number 5 just a little bit in the lead here. Let's watch as they come back here to make their turn. Really close, although lane number 5 did turn first. Again, that's Mason Yost from Riptide. He's a 14-year-old, but lane number 3 got a better turn. I'm sorry, lane number 4 got a better turn. And lane number 4 is Tristan Varela from Rochester. So if you watch here, you'll see that Tristan has pulled ahead here. So let's watch as they turn at the other end. Tristan's about half a body length ahead, almost 3/4 of a body length ahead of Mason Yost in lane number 5. They're tightening back up here as they come back to make their turn again. They turn at almost the exact same moment. So now it comes down to who can do the freestyle faster here. They are neck and neck in lanes 4 and 5. Third place currently belongs to lane number 6. That's Uriah Nelson with Rochester. And fourth place is Carter Callis from Riptide in lane number 3. All right, lane number 5 has picked up the lead again, as you see. Can he hold on to that lead? It does appear so. That's Mason Yost with Riptide. He's 14-year-old, and he will touch with a 2:44.83. Lane number 4 will finish second with a time of 2:45.56, and that's Tristan Varela with Rochester. And that's about 11 seconds, actually about a 10-second improvement over his previous time, almost 11 seconds. Let's watch the other swimmers here and get a little better view. Here comes Uriah Nelson from Rochester over in lane number 6. We'll watch as he comes in here and touches. And then Carter Callis in lane number 3 will be coming in just a moment here. So Uriah finishes third with a 3:26.03. Carter will touch with a time of 3:33.50. All right. Great job. All right, up next is event number 9. This is girls 12 and under. 200-yard IM. This will be 2 heats of swimming, and this is going to be heat 1 of 2. Into the water they go. In lane number 1 is Aubrey Kircher with Riptide. In fact, this is all Riptide except for the last lane, lane number 8. Lane number 2 is Grace Liu. Lane number 3 is Rima Menon. Lane number 4, June Moore. Lane number 5, Eileen Shen. Lane 6, June Holter. Lane 7 is Layla Sheets. And in lane number 8 is Afton Lindquist for Rochester. I'm showing that this is a first-time swim for all of these swimmers here. And again, this is the girls 12 and under, 200-yard IM. We've got a variety of 11 and 10-year-olds, 10 and 11-year-olds here. Let's watch as they come back to make their turn. Lane number 3 is in the lead. Lane number 3 is Rima Menon from Riptide. She is an 11-year-old. Looks like second right now is going to be lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Eileen Chen. She's an 11-year-old as well from Riptide. Folks, if you like seeing these broadcasts, and we've got quite a few people watching right now, please go ahead and hit the like button. It does help us, and we would appreciate it. As well as, don't forget, send a shout out to your favorite team, your favorite swimmer. Let us know where you're watching from. All right, let's watch as they come back here. Lane number 5 is in the lead now. Just barely over her teammate in lane number 3. Again, lane number 5 is Eileen Shen from Riptide. Lane number 3 is Rima Menon from Riptide as well. We've got a shout out here. We got a wave from Kimberly Munson. Hello, Kimberly. Tell us where you're watching from. Again, this is 2 heats of swimming. This is heat number 1 of event 9. This is girls 12 and under, 200-yard IM. Boy, it is really close here between lanes 3 and 5. Let's see who touches first. It's going to be a matter of reach. I think it's going to be 3. Let's take a look. Yep. 3 looks like, yep, she had a split there of 59.03 as compared to her teammate with a split time of 1:00:32. So just barely 32 hundredths of a second faster. It's exciting to see them compete like this and be so close to each other. I think, this is going to be tight, going to be a tough one to call here until the end. But I think maybe lane number 5, Eileen Chen, might touch first, and she did with a time of 3:20.05 rather. Her teammate, lane number 3, that's Rima Menon, finished second with a time of 3:20.76. Coming in third was lane number 7. Lane number 7 was Layla Sheets. She's a 10-year-old from Riptide with a time of 3:35.99. Great job. All right, up next is going to be heat number 2. This will be our final heat of event 9. This is girls 12 and under, 200-yard IM. Swimmers are getting set. Into the water they go. It looks like we've got a scratch here. In lane number 1, Lexi Grenz with Rochester. Lane number 3, Belle Weigand with Riptide. All the rest of these swimmers are Riptide. Lane number 4, Sophia Renato. Lane number 5, Danica Myers. Lane number 6, Kinsley Munson. Lane number 7, Teresa Shen. And lane number 8 is Elsa John. So again, we've got Rochester in lane number 1, and the rest of the lanes are Riptide. Does look like Rochester. Lexi Grenz from Rochester is in the lead. She's a 12-year-old from Rochester. No previous time here, so this is showing its first time swim. Got another shout out here from Kimberly Munson. Hello, Kimberly. Go, Kinsley. Sounds good to me. Kinsley, as you can see, is in lane number 6. She's a 12-year-old with Riptide. Pretty commanding lead here in lane number 1 here by Lexi Grenz from Rochester. The others are coming in and turning. Looks like lane number 4. Lane number 4 is in second place. Pretty close after that. Lane number 4 is Sophia Renato with Riptide. She's a 12-year-old with the previous time of 3:45.40. And looks to me like lanes 5 and 6 are in 3rd and 4th position. Lanes 5 is Danica Myers from Riptide. Lane 6 is Kinsley Munson. By the way, Danica Myers in lane number 5 is a 12-year-old with Riptide. She has a previous time in this event of 3:52.85. So let's see what happens here. Okay, Sophia Renato is in second place, followed right behind her, next to her. In lane number 5 is Danica Myers. Lexi Grenz from Rochester in lane number 1 will finish first. She's got a pretty commanding lead over the rest of the water here. And she's coming back right now here for her finish. And Lexi will touch with a 3:14.58. Here comes the rest of the swimmers. Oh, a little bit of a change up here. Touching second is lane number 5 with a time of 3:33.83. That's Danica Myers from Riptide. I think third was lane number 4. That's with a time of 3:34.83. That's Sophia Renato. Great job. Next up will be event number 10. Event 10 is boys 12 and under, 200-yard IM. And this will be one heat of swimming. All right, into the water they go. In lane number 1 is Ben Kohler from Riptide. Lane number 2 is Ethan Thompson, Riptide. Lane number 3 is Ben Johnson, Riptide. Lane 4, Mark Maley with Rochester. Lane number 5, Connor Brown, Riptide. Lane number 6, Javier Lafitte with Riptide. Or Lafitte, I like that better. How's that sound? And lane number 7 is Jackson Marlowe with Riptide. The only 3 swimmers here with previous times are lane 3, 4, and 5. Lane 3, Ben Johnson with Riptide has a previous time of 4:02.73. Mark Maley in lane number 4 for Rochester has a previous time of 3:03.67. And in lane number 5, Connor Brown of Riptide. He's a 12-year-old. He has a previous time of 3:35.71. By the way, we've got a shout out here. Woohoo! Awesome job, Danica. And that was Danica Myers in lane number 5 from the previous heat of swimming. Kind of watching here in lane number 2 that swimmer doesn't cross and touch the line, rather. The officials are eyeing that down a little bit. Looks like everything is okay. I didn't see any arms go up. Looks like in lane number 6, looks like lane 6 is in the lead here. Lane 6 is Javier Lafitte with Riptide. Oh, finishing first, however, lane number 4, Mark Maley with Rochester. He's an 11-year-old with a previous time of 3:03.67. Finished with a time of 2:47.78. Finishing second, and let me just get that in here, is lane number 6 with a time of 3:12.23. And that was Javier with Riptide. Coming in third is going to be lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Connor Brown with Riptide. His previous time was 3:35.71, and it's showing here a time of 3:25.93. If that's true, it's a 10-second improvement. Great job. All right, up next are some quick ones here. We're going to have event number 11. This is girls 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly next. As soon as this one's done, we got the last swimmer coming in here, lane number 2. Lane number 2, by the way, is Ethan Thompson with Riptide. All right, event 11 is 3 heats of swimming. This will be heat number 1 of 3. All right, into the water they go. And lane number 1 is Jillian Streifel with Riptide. Lane number 2, Ingrid Olivier with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Maddie Rutzer, Riptide. Lane number 4, Thu Duong with Riptide. Lane number 5, Stella McCurdy, Riptide. Lane 6, Kara Klumper, with Riptide. Lane number 7, Holly Newman with Rochester. And lane number 8 is Molly Engen with Riptide. I told you these are going to go by fast here. You can see how quickly they're swimming here. I show that this is a first-time swim this season for all of them. Let's watch as they come back here to touch. Does look to me like lane number 5 will touch first with a time of 46:27. That's Stella McCurdy with Riptide. Touching second, lane number 8 with a time of 49:58. With Molly Engen with Riptide. And lane number 7 touched third, I believe. Hard to tell between lanes 4 and 7 because it was a soft touch. That'll do it for heat number 1. Up next is heat number 2. Again, there are 3 heats here. This is heat number 2. Swimmers are getting set. And again, this is event 11, girls 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly. Swimmers are in the water. Lane number 1 is Grace Liu with Riptide. Lane number 2, Avery Persigal, Riptide. Lane number 3 is Macy Meyer with Riptide. Lane number 4, Oakley Freilich with Rochester. Lane number 5, Phoebe Wagner with Rochester. Lane number 6, Fiona Kokeman with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Allie Rusum with Riptide. And lane number 8 is Jasmine Lee with Riptide. Only swimmer with the previous time is lane number 4. That's Oakley with Rochester. She's a 7-year-old. The previous time of 1:20.81. Some soft touches there, but that's to be expected. All right, up next is going to be Heat 3. This is our final heat of Event 11, girls 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly. All right, and lane number 1 is Natalie Kretschy with Riptide. Lane number 2 is B. Standorf with Rochester. The rest are all Rochester, by the way. Bianca Lasik, lane number 3. Lane number 4 is Mia Huang. Lane number 5, Callista Wang. Lane number 6, Elsa Gwellum. Lane number 7, Patricia Pelzuska. And lane number 8 is Maya Thaden. In the lead currently looks like it's lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Callista Wang from Rochester. She's a 9-year-old with a previous time of 50:47. Let's watch as she comes back and touches here. She will touch with a 48.85, so it's a little bit of an improvement, couple of seconds. Nice. Coming in second, lane number 4 with a time of 52:56 was Maya Yang with Rochester. Coming in third, well, again, there's a lot of soft touches here. Scoreboard saying third was lane number 6. Lane number 6 would have been Elsa Gwellum with Rochester.
Let's go, boys 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly, heat 1 and 2.
All right, up next is event number 12. This is boys 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly. This is heat 1 of 2. We should have 3 swimmers there, and we do. Swimmers are in the water. And lane number 1 is Graham Kuhn with Riptide. Lane number 4 is Yankai Chu with Rochester. And lane number 5 is Ben Kohler with Riptide. Does appear lane number 5, Ben Kohler with Riptide, is in the lead. Ben is a 9-year-old. And again, none of these swimmers show previous times, which is true of most of these events. Touching first, lane number 5 with a soft touch, but now it comes back with a 48.01. That's Ben Kohler with Riptide. Touching second is going to be lane number 4. Lane number 4 is Yankai with Rochester. He's a 9-year-old. In fact, they're all 9-year-olds. Again, a soft touch with a time of 1:01.93. And coming in third, lane number 3 with a time of 1:06 even, was Graham with Riptide. All right, up next is heat number 2. This is our final heat of event 12. Boys 10 and under, 50-yard butterfly. Folks, don't forget to hit that like button and give a shout out to your favorite swimmer. All right, and lane number 1 is Tommy Cadleck with Rochester. Lane number 3 is Gabe DeMarco with Riptide. Lane number 4, Crosby Coleman with Rochester. Lane number 5, Scott Melee with Rochester. Lane 6, Adam Jothan with Rochester. Lane number 7 is Jacob Verholz with Rochester. Another shout out here from Jaden Lindner. Let's go, Gabe. That would probably be Gabe DeMarco in lane number 3. Another shout out here. Go, Gabe from Terry. A lot of Gabe fans. Like it. Keep them coming. All right, finishing first, lane number 4 was Crosby Coleman with Rochester. He was an 8-year-old the previous time of 52.78. Finishes with a 48.81. All right, up next, event number 13. This is mixed 8 and under, 25-yard butterfly. Now, it's going to take a moment for this to occur because our timers have to go to the other end of the pool. So this is a down and out swim. So this is the mixed 8 and under, 25-yard butterfly. There'll be 2 heats of this. There should just be a moment here while they get things set. We'll get set here in just a second. All right, swimmers are getting set. Again, this is mixed 8 and under, 25-yard butterfly. We should have 3 swimmers here in the first one. We do in lanes 3, 4, and 5. And they are all Riptide swimmers. All right, in the water they go. In lane 3 is Bryn Levan. And lane 4 is Britta Phelps. And lane 5 is Tess Linsmeyer. Pretty close swim here, but it kind of, from my perspective, looks like lane number 3, which is Bryn, may touch first. Boy, it's so close here. Hard to tell. Great swim, though. That was heat number 1. All right, up next is heat number 2. These go by so fast. All right, they are in the water here. Lane number 2 is Peyton Pastrollo with Riptide. This is all Riptide again. Lane number 3 is Lily Berner. Lane number 4, Olivia Liu. Lane number 5, Quinn Jelinek. Lane number 6, Nelly Agalilu. And lane number 7 is Annika Michaela. Looked to me like lane number 4 may have touched first. Lane number 4 was Olivia Liu. All right, folks, that will do it for event 13. Next up is event 14. This will take a minute for our timers to come back. Event 14 is going to be girls 11 to 12, 50-yard butterfly, and there'll be 2 heats of that. So let's give them just a moment to get back down to their starting blocks here. right, you heard it there. That's event 14, girls 11 at 12, 50-yard butterfly. This again is heat 1 of 2. And this is primarily Riptide here, except for lane number 5, which will be Rochester. Swimmers are in the water. Lane number 1, Sophia Grebner, Riptide. Lane number 2, Sydney DeMarco, Riptide. Lane number 3, Sylvia Acosta, Riptide. Lane number 4 is Aditi Shamraj, Riptide. Lane number 5 is Ella Edwards with Rochester. Lane 6, Allison Pop with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Clara Shea with Riptide. And lane number 8 is Belle Wigand with Riptide. In the lead currently looks to me, let's see here, lane number 5. And as we know, lane number 5 is Ella Edwards from Rochester. Let's watch as she touches here. She'll touch with a time of 42:25. Coming in second, lane number 3 with a time of 45:38. Sylvia Acosta with Riptide. Coming in third, looks like it's lane number 1 with a time of 49:61. And that was Sophia Grebner with Riptide. Up next is our final heat of event 14. That's a heat number 2. All right, lane number 1, Evie Reynolds, Riptide. Lane number 2, Evelyn Andreessen with Riptide. Lane number 3, Tashi Sinha with Riptide. Lane number 4, Bodie Funk, Rochester. Lane number 5, Carolina Pelzuska with Rochester. Lane number 6, Maddie Droberg with Riptide. Lane number 7, Eileen Chen, Riptide. And lane number 8, Elsa John with Riptide. It was a really close race here between lanes 4 and 5. I think 5's got a slight lead. Let's watch as we come back here to the finish. Lane number 5, by the way, is Carolina from Rochester. Lane number 4 is Bodie from Rochester as well. And that is how they'll finish. Lane number 5 with a 42:64. Lane number 4 with a 43:23. I think we're going to have some combinations coming up. I think we have one more event, and then we're going to have, I think, events 16 and 17 combined from what it looks like out there. We'll see. I'll let you know as we get there. All right, up next is boys 11 at 12, 50-yard butterfly. This is event 15. This will be one heat of swimming. We are right on schedule here, by the way, for event 15. Maybe even a minute behind. Oh, we got a slow start there with one of our swimmers. All right, in lane number 2 is Sam Newman with Rochester. Lane number 3, Jackson Heigerill with Rochester. Lane number 4, Mark Maley with Rochester. Lane number 5, Quan Duong with Riptide. Lane number 6, Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. And lane number 7, Brandon Johnson with Riptide. Lane number 4 is in the lead. That's Mark Maley with Rochester. His previous time is 44:90. He's an 11-year-old. And he will touch with a 37:39. Coming in second, lane number 6, Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester, with a time of 38:84. Coming in third, lane number 3, that's Jackson Heigerill with Rochester, with a time of 43:91. All right, let's see here if we're going to be combined on the next one. That is what it looked like. Folks, don't forget those shout-outs. Keep them coming. We'll get them up on the screen and out on the airwaves. And again, don't forget to hit the like button. We do appreciate that. This is a combination, as we said, events 16 and 17. This will be boys and girls. All right, in lane number 3 is Melina Finch with Riptide. Lane number 4 is Tessa Rodolfi with Riptide. And lane number 6 is Micah Kang with Riptide. Melina in lane number 3 is 13. Tessa in lane number 4 is 15. And Micah in lane number 6 is 13. Watch here as they come back. In the lead is lane number 6. That's Micah for the boys. And lane number 4 for the girls is in the lead. Lead. Lane number 4 is Tessa. Tessa's starting to catch up to Micah there. He will hang on to that lead, but boy, she's catching up quite a bit here. First time swim for everybody here. Soft touch here for Micah. Tessa will touch in lane number 4 with a 1:37.34. Does show for Micah now a time of 1:34.52. We'll see if that's right. Touching third here in lane number 3 is Melina, and she will touch with a soft touch and a time that isn't correct. Okay, super. Next up is event number 18. This is girls 10 and under, 50-yard backstroke. Now this is going to be 6 heats of swimming, so this will be heat number 1. All right, in lane number 3 is Eliana England with Riptide. Lane 4, Holly Newman with Rochester. Lane number 5, Ellie Slinger with Riptide. And lane number 6, Mila Kopp with Riptide. Again, all swimmers here are 9 years old, and none of them have previous times. And this is heat 1 of 6. Watch as they come back and touch here. Touching first, lane number 6 with a time of 51.60. That's Mila. Coming in second, lane number 5. That's Ellie with a time of 52.31. Coming in third was lane number 4. That's Holly from Rochester with a time of 54.15. All right, up next is heat number 2 of 6. And lane number 1 is Oakley with Rochester. Lane number 2 is Fiona with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Jasmine Riptide. Lane number 4, Kylie Riptide. Lane number 5, Maddie with Riptide. Lane number 6 is Adriana with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Maya with Rochester. Lane number 8 is Phoebe with Rochester. Lane number 3 is currently in the lead. That's Jasmine Lee with Riptide. She's a 10-year-old. Previous time of 56.97. She will touch with a time of 51.42. Really nice. Lane number 4 comes in second. That's Kylie Smith with Riptide. She's a 9-year-old. Previous time of 56.28. Looks like she finished with a 55.21. Next up is heat number 3. We're halfway there. In lane number 1, Lila Lex with Riptide. Sorry about that. Lane number 2, Tess Linsmeyer with Riptide. Lane number 3, Patricia Pelzuska with Rochester. Lane number 4, Macy Meyer with Riptide. Lane number 5, Lily Berner with Riptide. Lane number 6, Molly Engen, Riptide. Lane number 7, Nelly Agalilu with Riptide. And lane number 8, Lydia Selberg with Riptide. Super tight here. Let's see who finishes. Wow. This is anybody's call. It was so tight, and there was some soft touches. I can only go with what the scoreboard says. That says lane number 4, which would have been Macy Meyer from Riptide, with a time of 50-50. Very tough to see, though. All right, up next is heat number 4 of 6. Folks, you've been quiet out there. Let's see some more shout-outs here for your favorite swimmers, and let's hit that like button. All right. In lane number 1, Elsa Gwellum with Rochester. Lane number 2, Annika Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 3, Kara Klumper, Riptide. Lane number 4, B. Standorf with Rochester. Lane 5, Thu Duong with Riptide. Lane number 6, Britta Phelps with Riptide. Lane number 7, Elena Kurholtz with Riptide. Kurt Holtz, rather. And lane number 8 is Quinn Jelinek with Riptide. Again, another close one here. Wow. I got to go with what the clock says up there. It says lane number 5 with a time of 48.75. And that was Thu Duong with Riptide. She's a 9-year-old. Previous time of 50.55. Okay. Up next is heat number 5. All right, in lane number 1 is Bryn Levan, Riptide. Lane 2, Jillian Streifel, Riptide. Lane 3, Ingrid Olivier with Riptide. Lane number 4, Afton Lindquist with Rochester. Lane 5, Olivia Liu with Riptide. Lane number 6, Allie Rusum with Riptide. Lane number 7, Aubrey Kircher, Riptide. And lane number 8, Betsy Bergstedt with Riptide. Once again, you're watching Event 18, girls 10 and under, 50-yard backstroke, and we are in the middle of heat number 5. There are 6 total heats in this one, so we are gaining on it. We should be done here in just a few moments. All right, finishing first, lane number 4 with a time of 45.74 was Afton Lindquist with Rochester. All right, up next is our final heat. This is heat number 6. Swimmers are getting set here. There they go. In lane number 1, Callisti Wang with Rochester. Lane number 2, Peyton Pastrollo with Riptide. Lane number 3, Anya Coronel with Riptide. Lane number 4, Avery Persigal, Riptide. Lane number 5, Stella McCurdy, Riptide. Lane number 6, Layla Sheets with Riptide. Lane number 7, Bianca Lasik with Rochester. And lane number 8, Mia Huang with Rochester. We got another shout out here from Terry. Lily Berner, you did an awesome job. Papa and Grandma are so proud of you. Great. Keep those shout outs coming, folks. I'll get them up on the screen and out on the air. All right, looks like finishing first here is going to be lane number 5 with a time of 40.76. That's Stella McCurdy with Riptide. She's 9 years old, rather. Previous time, 43.54. So she did better by almost 3 seconds. All right, up next is event 19. This is boys 10 and under 50-yard backstroke. This will be 3 heats of swimming. This is heat number 1. In lane number 3 is Yunkai Chu with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Tommy Cadillac with Rochester. Lane number 5 is Braden Swirsky with Riptide. Lanes 3 and 5, Yunkai and Braden are both 9 years old, and Tommy in lane number 4 is a 10-year-old. We certainly enjoy bringing you these live streams when we can, and I have been your live stream host. This is Tom Rucci. I'll be here all day with you, and I normally am the one who does these live streams. Once in a while, we get another volunteer. So if you like what you see, please go ahead and hit the like button and send a shout out to your favorite swimmer. Finishing first was lane number 3 with a soft touch, and lane number 3 was Yunkai. He's a 9-year-old from Rochester. Finishing second is going to be so close, hard to tell. I'm going to say that it was lane number 5, however, because I think that he soft-touched. All right, up next is going to be heat 2 of 3. Don't forget to send that shout-out to your favorite swimmer. In order to do that, you do have to become a subscriber. It's free. All you have to do is hit subscribe on YouTube, and then within about a minute or so, it'll let you go ahead and comment, and that will be a chat here, and it'll be sent to me, and I'll get it on the air for you. Also, don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. We love to see that as well. All right, lane number 1 is JJ Werner from Riptide. Lane number 2 is Graham Kuhn from Riptide. Lane number 3, Adam Jothan from Rochester. Lane number 4 is Bill Cotis with Riptide. Lane number 5 is Jacob Fernholtz with Rochester. Lane number 6, Zachary Johnson, Riptide. And lane number 7 is Nicholas Michaela with Riptide. So you got it easy at home. All you have to do is cheer for your favorite team, your favorite swimmer. Go ahead and send us a shout out. We'll get it on the air, and hit that like button. Boy, this is going to be close between... Yeah, it's going to be a close one between lane 6 and 4. Lane 6 takes it with a 48.89 rather. That's Zachary from Riptide. Coming in second was lane number 4. That's Bill Cotis from Riptide with a time of 49.62. Up next is our final heat of event 19, boys 10 and under 50-yard backstroke. This will be heat number 3. All right, and lane number 1 is Carson Egbert from Riptide. Lane number 2 is Ben Johnson from Riptide. Lane 3 is Scott Maley with Rochester. Lane 4 is Ben Kohler, Riptide. Lane 5, Crosby Coleman, Rochester. Lane 6, Murphy DeMarco, Riptide. Lane 7, Brody DeWalt with Riptide. And lane number 8 is Gabe DeMarco with Riptide. Pretty tight here between lanes 4 and 5, although I think lane 4 has got a slight lead. That's Ben Kohler with Riptide in lane 4. And he will take it with a 41.71. Coming in second, lane number 5 with a time of 42.67 was Crosby Coleman from Rochester. By the way, Ben Kohler's previous time was 41.87, so he did better by a couple hundredths of a second. Up next is going to be event 20. This is our mixed 8 and under 25-yard backstroke. So again, we're going to have to wait for a moment here while our timers move to the other end of the pool. Again, this is a swim and out because this is a 25-yard pool. We should have a pretty full boat here of swimmers. All 8 lanes. And it looks like they are all from Riptide. So this will be an all Riptide heat. Once again, this is the mixed 8 and under 25-yard backstroke. While we've got this pause, it's a great chance for you to go ahead and send a shout out to your favorite swimmer, your favorite team. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know that you enjoy watching these streams. You can certainly send those messages as well. I'm Tom Rucci. I'm your live stream host, and I'm also going to ask you to go ahead and hit that like button. That does tell the management here that you want to continue to see these live streams. And it also helps us, like I said, getting new equipment and things like that so I can bring you a better live stream. All right, we are getting ready here. This is a 1-heat event, so this is heat number 1. Swimmers are getting in the water and getting set here. And again, as I said previously, this is an all Riptide heat. There they go. Lane number 1 is Marcus Culney. Lane number 2, Jalen Shen. Lane number 3, Violet Hernandez. Lane number 4, Ian Liu. Lane number 5, Sophia Eisenzimmer. Lane number 6, Hayden Garahan. Lane 7, Sloan Kuhn. And lane number 8 is Peyton Linterer. All right, up next will be event 21. Event 21 is girls 11 to 12 50-yard backstroke. And there'll be 3 heats of swimming here, starting with heat number 1. Heat number 1 is an all Riptide heat. You can see our timers heading back to the other end of the pool here. As soon as they get set, we'll start things off. All right, looks like everybody is set. We're going to get started here in just a second with event 21. Girls 11 to 12 50-yard backstroke. Again, this is heat number 1. In lane number 1 is Clara Shea. Lane number 2, Quinn Anderson. Lane number 3, Anya Nelson. Lane number 4, Emma Larson. Lane number 5, Elsa John. Lane number 6, Sophia Grebner. Lane number 7, Anya Coppola. And lane number 8 is Allison Pop. Watch here as they come back. Looks to me like lane number 1 is going to touch first with, a soft touch. Now it says 43.87, but it was a soft touch initially. By the way, that's Clara Shea. Coming in second, I believe, was lane number 5. Lane number 5 was Elsa John. Coming in third would be lane number 6. Lane number 6 is Sophia Grebner. All right, up next is heat number 2. Once again, this is an all Riptide heat. In lane number 1 is Tashi Sinab. Lane number 2, Evelyn Andreessen. Lane number 3, Rima Menon. Lane number 4, Kinsley Munson. Lane number 5, Maddie Droberg. Lane 6, Sydney DeMarco. Lane 7 is Anna Jonesgard. And lane number 8 is Aditi Shamraj. You are watching event 21, girls 11 to 12 50-yard backstroke. This is heat number 2 of 3. Touching first in lane number 3 with a time of 43.95 was Rima Menon. Touching second was lane number 6. Lane number 6 was Sydney DeMarco. Coming in third was actually lane number 1, which is Tashi Sinha. All right, up next is going to be heat number 3. Heat 3 is our final heat of the 50-yard backstroke. In lane number 1 is June Holter with Riptide. Lane number 2, Carolina Pelzuska with Rochester. Lane number 3, Bodie Funk with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Eileen Chen with Riptide. Lane number 5, Evie Reynolds with Riptide. Lane number 6, Ella Edwards with Rochester. And lane number 8 is Ellie Rybakowski with Rochester. Let's see here. Looks like lane number 4 is going to touch first with a time of, a soft touch. Lane number 4 was Eileen Chen with Riptide. A lot of soft touches out there. That's to be expected with these younger swimmers. Some of these swimmers. All right. Now we're going to move on here to event 22. Event 22 is boys 11 to 12 backstroke, 50 yards. There's going to be 2 heats of this one. We'll start with heat number 1. We got 3 swimmers in the water, and that is correct. We should have 3. Swimmers are off. And lane number 3 is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Sam Newman with Rochester. Lane number 4, Eric Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 5, Jackson Highgrell with Rochester. Eric Michaela in lane number 4 for Riptide. He's 11 years old, has a previous time in this event of 1:03.76. The other swimmers are not showing any previous time. However, the other 2 swimmers, Sam in lane 3 and Jackson in lane 5, are both 12 years old, and they're from Rochester. Lane number 5 will finish first with a time of 43.08. That's Jackson Highgrell with Rochester. Coming in second was lane number 3 with a soft touch. Lane 3 was Sam Newman with Rochester. And coming in third will be Eric Michaela from Riptide. And he also has a soft touch. Actually, showing a 1:00.91. So there you go. All right, up next is heat number 2. This is our last heat of event 22, boys 11 to 12 backstroke. All right, folks, I'm going to put a request out there. For those of you that haven't told me where you're watching from, go ahead and give me a shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. We're taking a poll, so go ahead and give me that shout out. Let me know where you're watching from. All right. Lane number 2 is Ethan Thompson, Riptide. Lane number 3 is Zach Anderson, Riptide. Lane 4 is Mark Maley with Rochester. Lane 5, Jackson Marlowe, Riptide. Lane number 6, Cole Callis, Riptide. And lane 7, Brandon Johnson with Riptide. Lane number 4 is currently in the lead as they make their way back. That's Jackson Marlowe with Riptide. He's 11 years old, a previous time of 43.85. He'll touch with a time of 37.04. Nice improvement. Second says lane 5 with a time of 43.77. Lane 5 was Jackson Marlowe with Riptide. All right, up next, event 23, that's girls 12 and under, 100-yard backstroke. There'll be 3 heats of this, and we'll start with heat number 1. I see that, by the way. Thank you for your comment about the scoreboard. Unfortunately, the feed I'm getting is frozen. That's why I'm giving you the race results as best I can. Let me see what I can do about that, though. In lane number 3 is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. Lane number 4, Aditi Patel with Riptide. Lane number 5, Lexi Grenz with Rochester. Let me see if I can just unplug and replug in and see what happens. Well, no, I have no feed at all. But if it's going to be what it was, I guess it doesn't make much difference, does it, folks? I apologize for the feed there. I'll read them off as best as I can as they finish. All the soft touches make it a little bit hard. By the way, Michelle Trofka was the one who alerted me to the issue with the scoreboard. I want to give her some credit there. And she is watching from Green Bay. Yeah, there's nothing I can do about the scoreboard. I apologize. That does happen from time to time with this older equipment, which is why I'm asking you to hit the like button, as many of you as you can, because that sends a message out that you want to keep seeing these so they can invest in a little bit better equipment. Coming in first was lane number 3 with a soft touch. Coming in second was lane number 5 with a 132.57. And coming in third was lane number 4 with a time of 136.40. By the way, lane number 3 was Caitlin with Riptide. Lane number 4 was Aditi with Riptide. Lane number 5 was Lexi Grenz with Rochester. Up next is heat number 2. I expect to see a whole bunch of likes out here, and I only see 10. Come on, folks. There's 31 of you right now watching. I want to see as many of those likes as possible. All right, in lane number 1 is Tessa Shen with Riptide. Lane number 2, Nora Groby with Rochester. Lane number 3, Amelia Dean, Rochester. Lane number 4, Melina Finch with Riptide. Lane number 5, Belle Wigan with Riptide. Lane number 6, Harper Colley with Riptide. Lane number 7, Sylvia Acosta with Riptide. Another shout out here from Bert Wagons. Grandma and Grandpa from Appleton, Wisconsin. Lovely area. Thank you so much. All right, touching first on that split. Let's see if I can get the split time on that. 39.79 on the split for lane number 3. Lane number 3 is Amelia Dean with Rochester. She's a 13-year-old with the previous time in this event of 148.09. She has a commanding lead over the rest of the pool. The rest of the pool is basically really close. Well, let's watch as she comes back and finishes. So lane number 3 will finish first with a time of 1:20.24. That's Amelia Dean with Rochester. Coming in second. This is going to be tight, folks. I'm going to do my best to get you the times. Lane number 5 is going to come in second. That's Belle Wigan with Riptide. She'll touch with a 1:36.50. Looks like lane number 1 came in next. Lane number 1 is Teresa Shen with Riptide. She had a soft touch. Followed by lane number 2, that's Nora Groby from Rochester, and she touched with a 1:40.62. Up next is heat number 3. This will be our final heat of event 23, girls 12 and over. 100-yard backstroke. In lane number 1 is Elizabeth White with Rochester. Lane number 2, Sophia Renito with Riptide. Lane number 3, Emma Wu with Rochester. Lane number 4, Dylan Rocker with Rochester. Lane number 5, Julia Wang with Rochester. Lane number 6, Tessa Rodolfi with Riptide. Lane number 7, Danica Myers with Riptide. And lane number 8, Natalie Elrahab with Riptide. Currently in the lead is lane number 4. Lane number 4 is Dylan Rocker. She's a 13-year-old from Rochester with a previous time of 1:14.70. Her split is a 36.87. She's slightly ahead of lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Julia Wang from Rochester. She has a previous time of 1:15.64. Third place right now is lane number 6. Lane number 6 is Tessa Rodolfi from Riptide. She's a 15-year-old with a previous time of, let's see here, looks like 1:26.05 previously. And they are in that same position as they come back again. Let's watch as they touch. Lane number 4, Dylan Rocker from Rochester will touch with a 1:15.26. Lane number 5, Julia Wang will touch with a 1:19.30. Lane number 6 didn't touch, although she came in third. She needs to hit that paddle there. Next was lane number 7 with a soft touch. Sorry about that. I can't bring you some of these because of the soft touches. All right, next up is event 24. This is boys 12 and over 100-yard backstroke. This is a single heat event. There is a break coming up here in a little bit. I'm going to try at that point to get down to the pool and see if I can reset that clock and see if it'll let me. In lane number 1 is Quan Duong with Riptide. Lane number 2, Carter Callis, Riptide. Lane number 3, Javier Lafitte, Riptide. Lane number 4, Tristan Varela with Rochester. Lane number 5, Micah King, Riptide. Lane number 6, Connor Brown, Riptide. Lane 7, Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. Lane number 8 is Uriah Nelson with Rochester. Watch here as they come back. Making the turn first was lane number 4 with a split time of 40:31. Lane number 4 is Tristan Varela from Rochester. And he's got 3 swimmers right on his heels, lanes 3, 5, and 7. Lane 3 is Javier Lafitte with Riptide. Lane 5 is Micah King with Riptide. And lane 7 is Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. Let's see if that continues. Finishing first in lane number 4 with a soft touch, Tristan Varela from Rochester. Coming in second, lane number 7 with a time of 1:22.41. That's Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. Coming in third would be lane 5 with a time of 1:26.50. And that's Micah King. Coming in next would be lane number 3. That was Tristan Varela from Rochester with a time of 1:27.68. All right, up next is event 25. This is girls 10 and under 50-yard breaststroke. In lane 3, Britta Phelps with Riptide. Lane number 4, Holly Newman with Rochester. And lane number 5, Annika Michaela with Riptide. All right, folks, sorry about that. Microphone got reset when we reset the clock. So now we got it working again. By the way, in lane number 2 is Lily Berner from Riptide. Lane number 1 is Lily. Lane number 2 is Thu Duong with Riptide. Lane 3 is Bryn Levon with Riptide. Lane number 4, Elsa Gwellum with Rochester. Lane 5, Maddie Rutzer with Riptide. Lane 6, Olivia Liu with Riptide. Lane 7, Adriana Eppinger with Riptide. And lane 8 is Oakley Frelick with Rochester. I'm just glad we got the clock going again there. We got a first place finish in lane number 2 with a time of 1:01.80. Lane number 2 was Thu Duong with Riptide. Second place is lane number 6 with a time of 1:02.11. Lane 6 was lane number 6 is Olivia Liu with Riptide. And looks like 3 was lane number 4, which is Elsa Gwellum with Rochester. All right, up next is heat number 4. I'm so glad we got that fixed. Thanks again for letting me know about that. It's hard to keep track of some of those as we see it. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. All right, into the water they go for heat number 4. Lane number 1 is Nelly Agalilu with Riptide. Lane number 2 is Maya Thaden with Rochester. Lane number 3 is Molly Engen, Riptide. Lane number 4, Natalie Kretschy with Riptide. Lane number 5, Tess Linsmeyer with Riptide. Lane number 6 is Patricia Pelzuskia with Rochester. Lane number 7 is Quinn Jelinek, Riptide. And lane number 8 is Ali Rusum with Riptide. And Michelle Trofka, I want to thank you for pointing that out to me. You get a gold star. Keep those shout-outs coming, folks. That was a really short poll we had there. Only had a couple people respond. There's more than 30 of you watching. Let's go ahead and get a few more shout-outs telling me where you're watching from, telling me about your favorite swimmer, and hit that like button, please. All right, looks like lane number 3 will touch first. Again, a soft touch. You can see it on the clock this time with the times. All right, up next is heat number 5. This will be our second to final heat of event 25, girls 10 and under, 50-yard breaststroke. So again, this is heat number 5. Lane number 1 is Afton Lindquist with Rochester. Lane number 2 is Macy Meyer with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Avery Persico with Riptide. Lane number 4 is Ingrid Olivier with Riptide. Lane number 5 is B. Standorf with Rochester. Lane number 6 is Anya Cornell with Riptide. Lane 7 is Jasmine Lee with Riptide. And in lane number 8, Jillian Streifel with Riptide. Here they come back to the finish here. Ooh, pretty close here between lane 6 and lane 3. I think who's going to touch first? Lane number 3 will touch first with a time of 52.98. Lane 3 was Avery Persico with Riptide. Lane number 6 came in second with a time of 53.77. That was Anya Cornell with Riptide. Coming in third was lane number 4. That's Ingrid Olivier with Riptide with a time of 55.30. Now we are at the final heat. This is heat number 6. In lane number 1 is Aubrey Kircher with Riptide. Lane number 2 is Stella McCurdy with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Grace Liu with Riptide. Lane number 4, Peyton Pastrollo with Riptide. Lane number 5, Mia Huang with Rochester. Lane 6, Bianca Lasik with Rochester. Lane number 7, Layla Sheets with Riptide. And in lane number 8, Elena Kurtzholtz with Riptide. Lane number 3 is in the lead. Lane number 3 is Grace Liu from Riptide. She's a 10-year-old with a previous time of 52.98. She touches with a 49.77. Nice improvement. Lane number 5 with a time of 52.54 will finish second. That's Mia Huang from Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 4 with a time of 54.18. Lane number 4 was Peyton Pastrollo from Riptide. All right, up next is event 26. This is boys 10 and under, 50-yard breaststroke. This will be 2 heats of swimming. This will be heat number 1. Uh-oh, hang on. Okay. And lane number 1 is Yenkai Shu from Rochester. Lane number 2, Tommy Cadillac with Rochester. Lane number 3, that had a slight problem here with our camera. There, we got it to work. Lane number 3, Nicholas Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 4, Gabe DeMarco, Riptide. Lane number 5, Graham Kuhn, Riptide. Lane number 6, Jacob Fernholtz, Rochester. Lane number 7, Brody DeWalt, Riptide. Lane number 8, Bill Kotis with Riptide. All right, let's see if we can get our cameras to switch. Yep, we got them to switch. Coming in first in lane number 7 with a time of 59.51 is Brody DeWalt from Riptide. He's a 9-year-old with no previous time. Looks like coming in second was lane number 3. Lane number 3 was Tommy Cadillac with Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 8. That's Bill Kotis with Riptide, also a 9-year-old. All right, up next is heat number 2. This will be our final heat of event 26, boys 10 and under, 50-yard breaststroke. And lane number 1 is Zachary Johnson with Riptide. Lane number 2, Adam Jolton with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Murphy DeMarco, Riptide. Lane number 5, Crosby Coleman with Rochester. Lane number 6 is Ben Johnson with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Carson Egbert with Riptide. And in lane number 8 is Braden Swarsky with Riptide. Lane number 5 is leading the pack here. Lane number 5 is Crosby Coleman with Rochester. He's 8 years old, and he has a previous time of 56.20. He'll finish here now with a 50.98, followed by lane number 4 with a time of 54.99. That's Murphy DeMarco from Riptide. Coming in third was lane number 2 with a time of 58.02, and that's Adam Jothan with Rochester. Next up will be event 27. This is mixed 8 and under, 25-yard breaststroke. Once again, we're going to have a slight pause while the timers go to the other end of the pool here, because again, this is a down and out. I'll give you a view of that walk. There they go. We got 4 timers there making their way down the other end. So for the remainder of you folks out there, I'm guessing you're all watching from Minnesota, since I haven't gotten any kind of response from you yet. If you want to leave your city you're watching from, that'd be great too. But hey, you know what I want to see more? I want to see those shout-outs for those swimmers, because they love to watch this stuff back, and they will be watching it, and they will see those shout-outs. So go ahead and send a shout-out. I'll get it up on the screen and out in the air. Okay, it looks like our timers are set here. Should just be a moment before they get the swimmers going. There we go. This is a single heat event, by the way. we will have 4 Riptide swimmers in the pool. It's an all Riptide heat, all Riptide event. Swimmers are in the water. There they go. Sloan Kuhn is in lane number 3. Lane number 4 is Violet Hernandez. Lane number 5, Ian Liu. And in lane number 6 is Marcus Colmy. The only one with a previous time here is Violet in lane number 4. Looks like she's an 8-year-old, and her previous time was 47:03. I'm going to tell you, even though I don't know exactly what Violet's time was, I can tell you it was much better than her previous time. I'm going to guess by almost 10 seconds. Okay, up next is going to be event 28, but there again is going to be a slight pause while we have to wait for our timers to come back from the other end of the pool. So event 28 is going to be girls 11 to 12, 50-yard breaststroke. And this will be a 3-heat event. And we'll start with heat number 1. That's always a good place to start from. I'll be right with you. I'll try. Yeah. Got it.
Event 28, girls 11 to 12, 50-yard breaststroke. Heat 1 of 3.
All right, folks, here we are here at event 28. Girls 11 and 12, 50-yard breaststroke.
In lane 2, Teresa from Riptide. In lane 3, Anya from Riptide. In lane 4, Ella from Rochester. In lane 5, Quinn from Riptide.
And lane number 2 is Teresa Shin with Riptide. Lane number 3, Anya Nelson, Riptide. Lane number 4, Ella Edwards from Rochester. Lane number 5, Quinn Anderson with Riptide. And in lane number 6, Anya Coppola with Riptide. Oops, sorry about the camera there. That's my fault. Just about the time I need to switch it back. Touching first in lane number 2 with a soft touch. Now it says 49.95. That's Tessa Shin with Riptide coming in second. Again, another soft touch, lane number 4. Ella Edwards from Rochester coming in next was lane number 8. I didn't have 8 swimmers on my list here. Ah, that was a swimmer that moved from another event into this one. That was one of the boys that moved in. I'm not sure if that's Zach Anderson from Riptide. I could be wrong. All right, up next is heat number 2. All right, lane number 1 is Elsa John, Riptide. By the way, this is an all Riptide heat. Lane number 2 is Evelyn Andreessen. Lane number 3, and Aditi Shamraj. Lane number 4 is June Holter. Lane number 5, Sydney DeMarco. Lane number 6 is Emma Larson. Lane number 7 is Hannah Jonesgard. And lane number 8 is Clara Shea. Another shout out here. This one's from Coda. Go Anya Coppola. Keep those shout outs coming. I'll get them on the screen. All right. Lane number 8 will finish first. Finishing first for the girls is lane number 1. That's Elsa John with Riptide. Coming in second for the girls is lane number 4. That's June Holter with Riptide. Well, they're all Riptide. And lane number 5, Sydney DeMarco. All right, up next is going to be heat number 3. This will be our final heat of this event. All right, swimmers are in the water. And lane number 1 is Evie Reynolds with Riptide. Lane number 2 is Ellie Ribikoskis with Rochester. Lane number 3 is Rima Menon with Riptide. Lane number 4 is June Moore with Riptide. Lane number 5, Carolina Pelzuska with Rochester. Lane number 6, Danica Myers with Riptide. Lane number 7, Tashi Sinha with Riptide. And lane number 8, Kinsley Munson with Riptide. Another shout out here from John. John, that's very nice of you. Shout out to our announcer from us. Out of state viewers. Nice job. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, finishing first in lane number 5 with a time of 46:07 was Carolina from Rochester. Coming in second, I believe, was lane number 2. That's Ellie from Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 3. That's Rima Menon from Riptide. All right, up next is the event 29. This is boys 11 to 12, 50-yard breaststroke. And this is heat 1 of 1. Now, I think we're going to be short one swimmer here, and I think it was, maybe not. Yeah, I think we are. The swimmer that went earlier. I'm going to have to read it as is. So it says lane number 1 is Jackson Highgrill with Rochester. Lane number 2 is Ethan Thompson, Riptide. Lane 3, Zach Anderson with Riptide. Lane number 4, Jackson Marlowe, Riptide. Lane number 5, Cole Callis, Riptide. Lane number 6, Eric Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Brandon Johnson with Riptide. And lane number 8, Sam Newman with Rochester. Let's watch as they come back here. Does look like lane number 4 will finish first with a time of 48:14. Lane 4 was Jackson Marlowe, with Riptide. He's an 11-year-old, a previous time of 49:36. So he got that better by a second. All right, coming in second was lane number 3. That's Zach Anderson with Riptide. He's a 12-year-old with a time of 51:31. Coming in third was lane number 5. That's Cole Callis of Riptide. He's 11 years old. All right, up next is event 30. This is girls 12 and over, 100-yard breaststroke. This is heat 1 of 2. And lane number 2 is Lexi Grenz with Rochester. Lane number 3 is Nora Groby, with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Sylvia Acosta with Riptide. Lane number 5, Aditi Patel with Riptide. And lane number 6 is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. Again, this is heat 1 of 2. Lane number 5 is out ahead there. And that is Aditi Patel from Riptide. Aditi's a 13-year-old swimmer. Actually, let me see. That's lane number 6. I apologize. Lane number 6 is Caitlin Smith, also a 13-year-old from Riptide. Let's celebrate them both. And he will finish with a time of 1:36.30. And that's Caitlin Smith in lane number 6. Coming in second was lane number 2, it looks like, with a time of 1:44.66. Lane number 2 was Lexi Grins with Rochester. Coming in third, looks like a soft touch in lane number 4. That's Sylvia Costa. All right, up next is heat number 2, our final heat of event 30, girls 12 and over, 100-yard breaststroke. In lane number 1, Sophia Renato with Riptide. Lane number 2, Amelia Dean with Rochester. Lane number 3, Natalie Elrahab with Riptide. Lane number 4, Julia Wang, Rochester. Lane 5, Dylan Rocker, Rochester. Lane 6, Emma Wu with Rochester. Lane number 7 is Elizabeth White with Rochester. And in lane number 8 is Harper Colley with Riptide. Turning first is going to be lane number 4 with a split time of 42.16. Lane number 4 is Julia Wang with Rochester. She's a 14-year-old and has a previous time of 1:30.73. I'm going to say second right now is going to be lane number 5. Lane number 5 is Dylan Rocker with Rochester, 13-year-old with a previous time of 1:31.12. And lane number 2 appears to be in third place at the moment. That's Amelia Dean, also with Rochester. She's also 13 years old. Let's watch as they make their way back here for the finish. Julia Wang will finish first in lane number 4 with a time of 1:28.20. Second place, is tightening up, is going to be lane number 5, though. That'll be Dylan Rocker with Rochester, with a time of 1:35.28. Coming in third was lane number 2 with a time of 1:36.80, and that was Amelia Dean with Rochester. Coming in fourth is going to be lane number 3. Lane number 3 will finish with a time of 1:50.99. That's Natalie Elrahab with Riptide, rather. Lane 7 came in 5th, and that's Elizabeth White with Rochester with a soft touch. And then coming in 6th is going to be Harper Colley with Riptide, lane number 8. All right, up next is going to be event 31. This is boys 12 and over, 100-yard breaststroke. Folks, we are gaining on it here. There's 40 total events, and they may even combine a couple for us. This is going to be one heat of swimming, so this is heat number 1 of event 31. Lane number 1 is Javier Lafitte with Riptide. Lane number 2 is Quan Duong with Riptide. Lane number 3, Connor Brown, Riptide. Lane number 4, Tristan Varela with Rochester. Lane number 6, Carter Callis, Riptide. Lane number 6, Uriah Nelson, Rochester. Lane 7, Mason Yost, Riptide. Lane 8, Owen Schumacher, Riptide. Carter Callis, by the way, is in lane number 5. All right, let's watch here as they come back. Lane number 4 is leading the pack here, and he'll make a turn with a split of 44.28. Lane number 6 had a split of 47.50, by the way. Lane number 6 was Uriah Nelson with Rochester. Lane number 6, Uriah Nelson, is a 13-year-old with Rochester with no previous time. Lane number 7, Mason Yost, is 14 years old with Riptide. It does appear to be in first place here as he comes back. Let's see. And yes, he will touch with a 125.09. Once again, that's Mason Yost with Riptide. Coming in second was lane number 4. That's Tristan Varela with Rochester with a time of 132.92. Coming in third is going to be lane number 6. Lane 6 is Uriah Nelson from Rochester with a time of 144.65. Coming in fourth was lane number 8. That's Owen Schumacher with Riptide with a time of 145.97. That'll do it for event 31. All right. Up next, event 32. Event 32 is mixed 8 and under 50-yard freestyle. Now, these are going to go fast. Hopefully my voice keeps up with me. Now, we're going to have 3 heats here of swimming. The first heat is all Riptide. So it's an all Riptide heat, so I won't be announcing a team. Swimmers are getting set here. I love to see these guys get ready. They're so cute. After these 3 heats, we are going to have a 10-minute break. All right, off they go. In lane number 1 is Jalen Shen. With lane number 2, Sophia Eisenzimmer. Lane number 3 is Marcus Colby. Lane number 4 is Hayden Garahan. Lane number 5, Violet Hernandez. Lane number 6, Sloan Kuhn. Lane number 7, Ian Liu. And lane number 8 is Peyton Lincherer. Again, these are all Riptide swimmers. Touching first in lane number 1 with a time of 45.22 was Hayden Garahan. Lane number 3 with a time of 47.36 will finish second. That's Marcus Colmy. Coming in third, lane number 6, that's Sloan Kuhn with a time of 53.46. All right, up next is heat number 2. Swimmers are in the water. In lane number 1, J.J. Werner with Riptide. Lane number 2, Lily Berner, Riptide. Lane number 3, Tess Linsmeyer, Riptide. Lane number 4 is Nelly Agalilu with Riptide. Lane number 5, Patricia Pelzuska with Rochester. Lane number 6 is Annika Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 7, Oakley Froelich with Rochester. And in lane number 8, Britta Phelps with Riptide. Lane 4 is leading the pack back here. Let's see here. Lane 4 is Nelly Agalilu. She will touch with a 43.26. Coming in second, lane number 3 is B. Standorf. I'm sorry, no, lane 3 is Tess Linsmeyer with Riptide. Annika in lane number 6 touched third with a 47.67. All right, up next is heat number 3. This will be our final heat of event 32, mixed 8 and under 50-yard freestyle. In lane number 1 is Olivia Liu with Riptide. Lane number 2 is Bryn Levon with Riptide. Lane number 3 is B. Standorf with Rochester. Lane 4, Peyton Pastrollo, Riptide. Lane 5, Scott Maley with Rochester. Lane number 6 is Mia Hung with Rochester. Lane number 7 is Crosby Coleman with Rochester. And lane number 8 is Quinn Jelinek with Riptide. Now, don't forget, folks, we're going to have a 10-minute break after this heat. Finishing first in lane number 4 with a time of 38.94 was Peyton Pastrollo with Riptide. Coming in second was lane number 1. That's Olivia Liu with Riptide with a time of 40.11. Coming in third was lane number 7 with a time of 41.15. And that was Crosby Coleman from Rochester. All right, folks, as we said, there's going to be a 10-minute break. We will be back in 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We've got lots of swimming ahead of us. So go ahead in the break, smash that like button. Let us know that you like seeing these live streams. Go ahead, send some shout outs. I'll get them on the screen for you. And we'll see you in approximately 10 minutes. Folks, you heard it. We are back to swimming here. This is a combination of events 33 and 34. This is the boys and girls 500-yard freestyle. And lane number 1 is Tessa Rodolfi with Riptide. Lane number 2, Natalie Elrahab with Riptide. Lane number 3, Ellie Ribikoskis with Rochester. Lane number 4, Callista Wang with Rochester. Lane number 5 is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. Lane number 6 is Micah King with Riptide. Lane 7, Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. And lane number 8 is Mason Yost with Riptide. Once again, this is combined events 33 and 34. Boys and girls 500-yard freestyle. All right, you have plenty of time now. Now is the time. Send those shout-outs to these swimmers that you're watching here. This is a tough swim. It's 500 yards of freestyling. We got some great swimmers out here, swimming their heart out. Need some encouragement from the crowd. And you know what? I need some as well. Go ahead and hit that like button, if you will, if you haven't done so already. We've probably got about 30 minutes left of swimming total, so stick with us. Lane number 5 in the middle of your screen there is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. She is a 13-year-old, and she has no previous time in this event. We do have 2 swimmers out here for the girls, their previous times. That's lane number 3, Ellie Ribikoskis, or Koskis. She's an 11-year-old with Rochester. Her previous time in this event is 7:57.99. And the other one is lane number 4. That's Callista Wang with Rochester. She's 9 years old, and her previous time was 8:11.97. Now over on the boys' side, lane number 7, Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. He's 12 years old and has a previous time of 6:55.60. taking the bell. All right, taking the bell, rather, in lane number 7. That's Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. He's a 12-year-old whose previous time was 6:55.60. All right, and he will finish with a time of 6:54.41. He improved on his previous time. Coming in second was lane number 6. Lane number 6 was Micah King with Riptide, and he has a time of 7:04.06. Taking the bell for the girls for the final lap is lane number 4. Lane 4 is Callista Wang with Rochester. Oh, there we go. That was lane number 5, wasn't it? Lane number 5, by the way. Lane 5 is Caitlin Smith with Riptide. She took the bell, by the way, not lane number 4. And she has a finishing time of 7:52.84. All right, we've got a pause swimmer here. I think maybe lost count of number of times. That's okay. We'll get it reset. All right, up next is event 35. This is girls 9 to 10 50-yard freestyle. This will be 4 heats of swimming. We'll start off with heat number 1. And lane number 2 is Betsy Berkstead with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Lila Lokes with Riptide. Lane number 4 is Ellie Slinger with Riptide. Lane number 5 is Holly Newman with Rochester. Lane number 6 is Kara Klumper with Riptide. Lane number 7 is Eliana England with Riptide. All these swimmers are 9 years old except for lane number 2, Betsy Berkstead. She's 10. Watch as they come back here. Looks like lane number 5 will finish first. And with a soft touch, lane number 5 was Holly Newman with Rochester. Finishing second was lane number 2 with a time of 42.90. And that was Betsy Berkstead, the 10-year-old from Riptide. And another soft touch. So, not a few soft touches here. Hopefully it's not an equipment thing. They'll have to get that fixed. All right, up next is heat number 2. This is heat 2 of 4. of the girls 9 to 10 50-yard freestyle. These go by fast. In lane number 1 is Phoebe Wagner with Rochester. Lane number 2 is Fiona Kokeman with Riptide. Lane number 3 is Jasmine Lee, Riptide. Lane 4, Maya Thaden, Rochester. Lane 5, Ingrid Olivier with Riptide. Lane 6, Maddie Rutzer, Riptide. Lane 7, Adriana Eppinger with Riptide. And lane number 8, Mila Cope with Riptide. All right, up next is heat number 3. This is an all Riptide heat. Lane number 1 is Jillian Streifel. Lane number 2 is Lydia Selberg. Lane number 3 is Kylie Smith. Lane number 4 is Natalie Kretschy. Lane number 5 is Macy Meyer. Lane number 6 is Molly Engen. Lane number 7, Elena Kurtholz. And lane number 8 is Thu Duong. Pretty tight race here. Lane number 6 with the time of 42.73 will finish first. That's Molly Engen. Coming in second was lane number 4 with a time of 43.34. And that was Natalie Kretschy. All right, up next is our final heat, heat number 4. In lane number 1, Elsa Gwellum with Rochester. Lane number 2, Grace Liu with Riptide. Lane number 3, Anya Coronel with Riptide. Lane number 4, Aubrey Kircher, Riptide. Lane number 5, Stella McCurdy, Riptide. Lane 6, Layla Sheets, Riptide. Lane 7, Avery Persigal, Riptide. And lane number 8, Allie Rusum with Riptide. Lane number 6 looks like it'll finish first with a time of 38.10. That's Layla Sheets. Coming in second was lane number 2 with a time of 38.53. That's Grace Liu. Coming in third was lane number 5 with a time of 40.79. That was Stella McCurdy. All Riptide. All right, up next is event 36. This is boys 9 to 10, 50-yard freestyle. This will be heat 1 of 2. In lane number 2 is Bill Kotis with Riptide. Lane 3 is Tommy Cadillac with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Braden Swarsky with Riptide. Lane number 5, Zachary Johnson, Riptide. Lane 6, Jacob Fernholtz with Rochester. Lane number 7, Yenkai Chu with Rochester. Let's watch here as they come back for the final touch. Looks like it's going to be lane number 7. Lane 7 is Yenkai Chu with Rochester. He's a 9-year-old. And he had a soft touch. Coming in right behind him was lane number 6 with a time of 48.13. And that's Jacob Furholtz with Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 2. That's Bill Kotis with Riptide with a time of 1:00.78. All right, up next is heat number 2, rather. My voice is starting to go. I apologize. right, this is an all Riptide heat. Lane number 1 is Carson Egbert. Lane number 2, Nicholas Michaela. Lane 3, Brody DeWalt. Lane 4, Ben Kohler. Lane number 5, Ben Johnson. Lane number 6, Murphy DeMarco. Lane 7, Graham Kuhn. And in lane number 8, Gabe DeMarco. Woo, that was a close one. Lane number 4 comes in first with a 36:38 time. And that's Ben Kohler, followed directly by lane number 5, coming in second with 36:69. And that was Ben Johnson. Coming in third was lane number 6 with a 41:84. That's Murphy DeMarco. Next up is event 37. This is girls 11 to 12, 50-yard freestyle. This will be heat 1 of 4. Okay, we've got 2 swimmers in the water. We have lanes 5 and 6. Lane 5 is Clara Shea with Riptide. Lane 6 is Allison Pop with Riptide. There are 2 scratches on this one. They are swimming neck and neck here. Again, this is the girls 11 to 12 50-yard freestyle. I'm going to say, looks like lane 5 rather, has a slight edge. Yep, lane 5 will finish first with a time of 36:95. That's Clara Shea. Coming in second was lane 6, Allison Pop, with a time of 37:58. All right, up next is heat number 2. Again, looks like it's an all Riptide heat. Looks like we have a scratch. In lane 2, Aditi Shamraj. Lane 3, Emma Larson. Lane 4, June Moore. Lane 5, Evelyn Andreessen. Lane 6, Kinsley Munson. Lane 7, Sophia Grebner. And in lane number 8, Anna Jonesgard. Lane number 6 is going to touch first with a time of 37:45. That's Kinsley Munson coming in second. Lane 7, Sophia Grebner with a time of 40:23 coming in third. Looks like lane number 4, June Moore, with a time of 42:90. All right, up next is heat number 3. Stick with us, folks. It's got a bit of swimming left. We should be done by, I would say the next 15 minutes or so. All right, lane number 1 is Belle Weigard. This is an all Riptide heat, by the way. Belle Weigard. Lane 2, Maddie Droberg. Lane 3, June Holter. Lane 4, Evie Reynolds. Lane 5, Sydney DeMarco. Lane 6, Eileen Shen. Lane 7, Teresa Shen. And lane 8, Tashi Sinha. Got another shout out here from Bert. Go B. Go Bell. I'll tell you, you can tell I'm getting tired. Sorry about that, Bert. Go Bell. Good thing we put them on the screen, right? All right, next up is our final heat. This is heat number 4. By the way, Bell finished with a time of 39:73 in lane number 1. Her previous time was a 41:21. In lane number 1, Ella Edwards, Rochester. Lane number 2, Rima Menon, Riptide. Lane number 3, Carolina Pelzuska, Rochester. Lane 4 is Lexi Grenz, Rochester. Lane number 5 is Sophia Renato, Riptide. Lane 6, Sylvia Acosta, Riptide. Lane 7, Danica Myers, Riptide. And in lane number 8, Bodie Funk with Rochester. Finishing first is going to be lane number 4. Something's wrong with the time clock here. Something didn't reset on the time clock. We'll have to get the timers, stopwatch times on that one. All right, up next is going to be boys 11 to 12 50-yard freestyle. This is event 38, heat 1 of 2. I need to clear the scoreboard again. There's nothing I can do about the clock, guys. Sorry, this isn't me. That's the Colorado system. Oh, we got a couple of swimmers here that are in the wrong heat, so they're just going to pull them off for the moment. Okay, looks like we're back on track. All right, in lane number 3, Sam Newman with Rochester. Lane number 4, Brandon Johnson, Riptide. Lane 5, Ethan Thompson, Riptide. Lane 6, Zach Anderson with Riptide. Zach Anderson in lane number 6 with Riptide is off to a commanding lead here. Followed by second place is going to be Sam Newman from Rochester in lane number 3. So Zach Anderson will finish with a 36-14. Oh, it's getting tight, real tight. Who touches first? It's lane number 3 with a time of 44-16. That's Sam Newman. Coming in third place, lane number 4. That's Brendan Johnson with Riptide with a 44-19. All right. Our final heat in this event, heat number 2. Lane number 1, Eric Michaela with Riptide. Lane number 2, Jackson Marlowe, Riptide. Lane number 3, Javier Lafitte with Riptide. Lane number 4, Mark Maley, Rochester. Lane number 5, Kelvin Gilkey, Rochester. Lane 6, Connor Brown, Riptide. Lane 7, Quan Duong, Riptide. And in lane number 8, Cole Callis with Riptide. They are coming in hot. Looks like lane number 4 is going to touch first. Lane 4 does touch first with a time of 31:01. Lane 4 was Mark Maley with Rochester. Coming in second was lane number 5 with a time of 31:60. That's Kelvin Gilkey with Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 3. That's Javier Lafitte with Riptide. And a time of 34:49. All right, up next is going to be event 39. This is girls 13 and over, 50-yard freestyle. This will be 2 heats of swimming. And this will be heat number 1.
Girls 13 and over 50-yard freestyle. Heat 1 of 2.
In lane number 3 is Nora Groby with Rochester. Lane number 4 is Elizabeth White with Rochester. Lane number 5, Aditi Patel with Riptide. And lane number 6, Caitlin Smith with Riptide. Got another shout out here from John. Way to swim, Zach Anderson. Great shout out. All right, here they come. Looks to me like lane number 6, that's Caitlin Smith with Riptide, will touch first with a 33:02. Ooh, tight one there. And touching second was lane number 3 with 36:75. That's Nora Groby with Rochester. Coming in third was lane number 4, Elizabeth White. Next up is heat number 2. This will be our final heat of event 39.
Lane 1, Alina from Riptide. In
Lane number 1, Melina Finch with Riptide. Lane number 2, Amelia Dean, Rochester. Lane number 3, Emma Wu with Rochester. Lane number 4, Julia Wang, Rochester. Lane number 5, Dylan Rockar with Rochester. Lane number 6, Tessa Rodolfi with Riptide. Lane 7, Natalie Elrahab with Riptide. And lane number 7, Harper Colley with Riptide. While these are tight swims, touching first is going to be lane number 4. That's Julia Wang from Rochester. Touching second, lane number 5. That's Dylan Rockar from Rochester. Touching third was lane number 6. That's Tessa Rodolfi from Riptide. All right, folks, here it is, the final event, the one you've all been waiting for. This is event 40. This is boys 13 and over, 50-yard freestyle. This will be a single heat of swimming. This will be our last event and our last heat of swimming for the day. It's your last chance to get a shout out or a like in. Go ahead and do it. You don't have much time. All right, lane number 2 is Uriah Nelson, Rochester. Lane number 3, Micah King, Riptide. Lane number 4, Mason Yost, Riptide. Lane number 5, Tristan Varela, Rochester. Lane number 6, Carter Callis, Riptide. Lane number 7, Owen Schumacher, Riptide. Here comes the swimmers back. Looks like lane number 4 is leading the pack. That's Mason Yost with Riptide. He'll touch first with a 29.27. Lane number 5 came in second. That's Tristan Varela from Rochester. Coming in third, I believe, was lane number 3, but it was a soft touch there. I'm not sure about that. Lane 3 was Micah King with Riptide. Their scoreboard is showing coming in third was lane number 6. That's Carter Callis, also from Riptide. Folks, that is it. That's going to do it. That is the end of the Jingle Bell Invitational. Once again, this is Tom Rucci. I've been your live stream host. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll see you next time at this same channel. So please join us for the next meet. You have one last chance to send a shout out or click that like button before we're done for the day. Have a great rest of your weekend. And take care. Bye-bye now.